Hi, everyone. My name is Leslie Pyle, and I am the founder of HireMyMom.com. And I'm excited today to have with me Sharon Haver with Focus on Style. She is a style expert extraordinaire and a lot of other things. So I'm excited for her to share her experience and her expertise. So, welcome, Sharon.
Thank you, Leslie, and thank you all the moms out there for having me here now.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and how you got your start in this style industry.
Well, I'm actually not doing the style part. I believe style is the fingerprint on everything you do. What
Yeah.
I do now is for the last, I don't know, 5 years is maybe more, is help people create their personality brands, their brands, and the marketing that fuels your image and what you do.
Yeah.
I actually started out, I have a business degree in marketing and with a little minor in PR and advertising, but mostly marketing, law, and abnormal psych. Go figure that out. And the law and the abnormal psych is kind of like what fuels your business, right?
Yes.
So I started out in PR for a while, and then I just didn't like it, and I was offered a job as a stylist, and I didn't even know what it was, but it was like, hey, whatever. So I was ended up being a stylist for 15 years on photo shoots, and I did everything from styling really cruddy looking polyester sweats with the disgusting nappy pills on them, taking them off the models. Was my first job was actually on location in St. Martin for 3 weeks. So getting these gross looking, cheap, sleazy sweats and making it so you would want to buy it because they look so great in a picture, positioning. And then everything from that to like Vogue covers with millions of dollars worth of jewels and everything in between. And I became very known as a style expert, morphed that into a syndicated newspaper column that went out to 400 papers a week. And then when my son was an infant, I moved from my newswire to a syndicator and basically got screwed by the guy quickly and got out of that, but had to help my papers that bought into me that were now my responsibility. And here I was with brand new mom brain. So I created a website myself, and I did it as a B2B site to get more newspapers to buy my column when my kid got, I don't know, 3 months old.
Mhm.
And instead, I kept getting traction and it became a commercial site, long story short, right? So it morphed into an style advice site for people who found me on the web. And that was in 1999 that I founded FocusOnStyle.com. And style to me was never just what you wear. I mean, it's one part of the whole thing. I like pretty clothes. I like pretty things. I believe it's a summation of your personality, and that goes into the marketing of your business should be in your own style, in your own brand. Your branding photos should be your personality in your own style. Your style, like I said, is the fingerprint of everything you do. So that's something that you own. That's your authenticity. That's the lens through which you see the world. I mean, I obviously see the world with things like sculptural shapes. So you see like there's sculptural vases and glass behind me. I like a lot of red. Even my earrings today are kind of sculptural. It all, like what I wear, reflects my home. You're in a corner of my living room now. If you go to focusonstyle.com, you'll see it also affects my brand colors. I do that site myself as well. You'll see it affects everything I do. It's not just me. I'm not an anomaly. So your style is what affects you and how you run your business, how you run your life. And if you're standing in your own values, if you're standing in your own authority and your own authenticity, it will follow you around where you go. So that's why since 1999, I've never changed the site name from focusonstyle.com to, I don't know, Modern Business or anything else, although this program's coming out for Modern Business. Or, sometimes I do call it SharonHaver.com, go either way. But because it has the SEO, I've known that way, but it's not, I really have not written about fashion per se. I used to go to Fashion Week all the time. In so long, I was just over it. You get over things, you move on and you grow. And I found it much more fascinating to use my marketing brain, my business brain, because I wouldn't have that site so long. So if it wasn't for knowing what to do, and that's what I help people with now, primarily with their photos, and creating. And I'm all about authenticity. I'm all about doing it yourself. I believe right now that this is our own broadcasting center. This is our photography studio. This is how the world sees us. This is how we see the world, our phone, right? So I teach people how to do things on their own based on my, you know, 15 years before in as a stylist and my 20 years online, so that you could do it yourself and your branding and your and the things that I've always been a little ahead of myself as, sadly, but good for us, is a good point of the pandemic, is that there was the shift coming before of everybody being real. If you look at celebrities and big marketing gurus, they've been in on this real stuff for years, because they know that by being real, you're creating the know, like, and trust factor, which you can never get in anything that's phony and pre-done. So from the pandemic, it's even escalated because people got so used to looking at newscasts from home, TV shows from home, everybody's home. So now, if you were afraid of doing it before, now is your time to be able to learn how to use this as your marketing tool, as your branding studio, as your
Yes.
broadcasting studio, and as everything you do.
So how do you use it as your broadcasting studio? Do you have some tips?
Well, yeah. Well, one of the things is online. If you're familiar with dating sites, swipe right, swipe left, and studies show it takes 1/10 of 1 second for somebody to decide an opinion about you, to form an opinion about you, to like you or not. Swipe right, flip. Same thing with your business. So if somebody is going down the feed, right? Let's just say social media. I mean, I started doing my own photos with my phone on my book cover. So, and if you want to see that, that's at stylewordbook.com, stylewordbook.com. So, you want people to see who you are. You want your visual storytelling, your messaging, that someone in a scroll, because you want to stop the scroll. You don't want to be so like generic that people look over you. You don't want to use the same photo all the time, that people get photo fatigue. You want to be able to pop, that when someone sees you, even on a done up day or an undone day, or whatever it is, they look at you and they're like, that's Leslie, that's Sharon. So you got to grasp that, that fingerprint. So by using your phone, and this is now, I guess it's the more new iPhone. I started this on an iPhone 6, so that's a while ago. You'd be able to take photos from where, once you learn positioning and composition and how it relates to your brand and color correction and all the good behind the scenes, setting up the shot so it doesn't look like that tree's coming out of my head and the air conditioner's not coming out of my other ear, and I'm not like sitting there like this, so you can see, oh, do I have roots today? Don't I have roots? Or like, I got a really bad neck. Let's spend a lot of time looking. You learn your best side. And celebrities in contracts sometimes say you can only shoot them one way or the other. They know their best side. Right. You can do the same thing. So by using your phone, you can take your photos, either set them up with, I have it, because I just did an Instagram live. So this is like my favorite tripod. I got it on Amazon. It folds up, go in your bag. We never leave our houses long enough to put it in our bag again. It's little, it's really lightweight. You can just put it on there, and you could, use this to set up, to more pose, more whatever, find your spot. You can use this for your videos, and you basically learn your angles, learn your shots, learn to set yourself up. And if you have one of those little shutters, you can do things where you're further away. You could just also use the timer on your phone so that you can get a longer shot, not always just your arm. But I'm kind of guilty of always just using my arm because I'm lazy. You could also just sit with your knee up, and that's like the perfect height to shoot, and start using that for your photos, and also use it for your videos as well. Your what you're going to find is, if you do Facebook ads, it's really interesting. If you have a photo that's overly zhuzhed, that's overly polished, people perceive that as sales, right? As something commercial. But if you have a photo that's authentic,
Yes.
people relate to it. So you'll find that when you're using that kind of photos, at least for me and my clients and people that I also know on a higher level in marketing, you'll find that those real photos convert way better than something that's staged. And, you got it from your phone. You didn't just pay $3,500 for a photo shoot. So there's a win-win on that one. Sorry to photographers, but the other thing is if you want to use those fancy shoots, you can, but only do it like 20% of the time. So 80% of the time, you are relating in this way. And if you do go to a photographer, make sure it's someone who honors your authenticity, who does shots where they're kind of cool, but they don't look fake. And you don't look like cardboard, you look like you. And you'll see that will bring a more aligned audience.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a saying where if you want to attract a whale, don't put out minnow bait. So if you are finding that you're not getting the audience that you want to be getting, that you're not taken seriously in your authority and your expertise, it could be the way you're perceived, because people will make that judgment about you before they read your copy, before they read your about page, before you get to say a word in your video. So if you want to learn more about it, I have a 5-day challenge that's completely free right now, and it's at AuthenticSuperstar.com, AuthenticSuperstar.com, and I'll show you how to do how to just set yourself up so that you can create this on your own. If you want to just download a report because you're that kind of person, I just came out yesterday. It's a free report. It's 80 pages, and that's at focusonstyle.com/report. It will teach you how to become a human lead magnet. And if you want your videos, go over to videoquickstarter.com and I'll help you with that. But I basically practice what I preach. So I do everything myself. And then when I do farm stuff out, I'm able to know that it's done per my specs because I know how to do it, right? It's a problem a lot of entrepreneurs make. Like they hire a VA and they said, oh, can you do this, my social media for me, right? Or social media marketing person. And they get these very crisp, corporate-y looking social media posts with a lot of writing on it. And they're usually like purple, blue, and green. I don't know why, or pink. And they're generic. And it's a big mistake, because if you wanted more of a bite, if you wanted people to really come to you without you doing much more, especially organically and in an ad feed, this is how you do it, by being real. So you can still do your own photos, then send it to someone to post if you like. But if big corporations are wanting to humanize themselves, why as a human do you want to try to look like a corporation? So the authenticity really, really makes a huge difference.
Yes, I agree. People would rather do business with someone, like you said, that they know, like, and trust, and who feels authentic, much more than somebody who's super slick and super over the top polished and everything, because it makes them unapproachable, I think.
And you can see, I mean, you look gorgeous. You're dressed, right? You're in a beautiful set. I'm wearing jeans, as you can tell from my knee. But, it's like.
But they're white.
Oh, you too.
And
So
a lot of times
I've got Ann Taylor jeans and Giorgio Armani earrings. Hey, it's all in the mix, So it's just, you can do it in your real life by looking more elevated. By looking more elevated, you look more aspirational. People, the subtle saying, like, a third grader thinks like a fourth grade is the bomb. They think they know everything. So you don't have to be like so out there. You don't have to be like J-Lo, but even look at J-Lo. She goes on without makeup on her Instagram all the time, looking real with selfies, then she does the big zhuzhed up image. So you could just find yourself and show up in your authenticity, but don't look like a slob, If once in a while you want to look like a pig in the kitchen and you're showing how to make a smoothie and you just woke up, that's okay, but not all the time. And that's also intentional. And use how you show up in a very intentional way to bring in the kind of audience you want to attract.
Right. Yes, I agree. So tell me, how is the national media affecting the work from home space and making it easier for you?
Because everybody else is home. Like, who wants to go to a what do you call it, a production studio at 5 a.m.?
Right.
Like, here, hi, I'm on my Zoom,
Yeah.
I think it makes, find your spots in your home, use it for media, and it's fine. I think, at a point we're getting a little cagey, but also I just think it levels the playing ground. It really levels the playing ground that we're all, and also there's a little bit of voyeurism in all this. Like, tell me if when you watch somebody on the news, right? You're watching
Mhm.
somebody on the news, you're seeing their house. You're like, what is on their bookshelves? What's that
Yeah.
vase behind her? I could see in the, is that her kitchen? It's like,
Right.
what? And that little voyeurism, that little curiosity also keeps people looking at you more than if you were standing in like a brown modeled background in like a fake studio, or you, or, put yourself on the beach behind you in your Zoom. People want to see that. It gives you more of a personality. It's more authentic. And, I just noticed on the news for you, my husband would actually notice it first. It's like, why is everyone in front of a bookcase? Because it's like a cheap and easy background, and it says, makes you look smarter. You got books behind you.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. Okay, so I have a question for you. What's the difference between a personal brand and a personality brand?
Personal brand is what you can buy. you know you go to the web designer, or I use Kartra for most of my stuff, and they're like, no, we have personal brand templates, right?
Yeah.
And it's a picture of a person selling their business. You could plop in your face on that. You could do all these tests for your personal brand colors. I don't know, how does it go? There's like the clothing colors, the summer, winter, spring, fall. And there's the brand colors. What is it like? Am I the leader? Am I this? I don't, how is it? It's some weird convoluted thing. That's the point. Like, those are all manufactured. So I'm like saying, you could be intentional, you can manufacture who you want to be, but it still has to come from an authentic way, right? Your personality brand is you. No one could take the personality away. You could put me in all the pastel pink you want as a personal brand. What was that old expression? Gag me with the spoon, but you could, right?
Yes.
And my personality would not look like a baby pink personal brand, right? It's me. And you always have it. If you want to go out and sell yourself, you will make more money. And as a personality than just any old personal brand, any old template. That doesn't mean you can't use one of those templates to make your life easier here and there, but it's your personality, who you are, what you stand for, what you wear, where you're surrounding, the font on your site that you choose, all those things, they convey a subliminal message. It's part of your visual storytelling. Your sense of humor, if you're snarky, if you're not, I'm like a real dyed-in-the-woods New Yorker. I'm sure that I would not go over in some parts of this country, and that is totally okay, because if you are a personality, you're putting a line in the sand, because you can't appeal to everybody. No one can be universal. If you're universal, you've got no one, right? You've got to appeal to your market, and you align with your market. So there's people that you're magnetic to, and there's people that are, you repel. And that's part of having a personality brand, and be okay with that, because there's people you like and there's people you don't. It's life. It's no big genius on that one. It's life. So be who you are, and you will attract people who know, like, and trust you based on how you're showing up.
Yeah, it reminds me of that saying, your vibe will attract your tribe.
Oh, I never heard that one. That's a good one. But it's
Yeah.
also more than a vibe. It's because it's your vibe and how you show up before you get to the vibe. But that's a good one.
Yes. Yeah.
And personality brands make more money. They're more, because they're more marketable.
Yeah, and I think of people that, you like that person, so therefore you'll buy whatever they're selling, because it's like they're selling their personality, and they put their personality on whatever product or service it is, and you're like, yeah, I like her. I'll take that. I'll
Yeah.
take that.
She's cool, she's funny, she's not. And also, it's just, if you are a personal brand and it's kind of generic, like you're trying to be, I'm the working mom and I have all the answers, and my six-pack is not really a six-pack, and here's my baby on my shoulder, and it's very manufactured and repetitive from all the other people out there,
Right.
you're not going to stand out. You have nothing to stand up for. So it's your point of view and who you do that'll stand out. And let's face it, there's like a million business coaching consultants out there. There's a million branding strategists. There's a million fitness coaches, whatever it is. There's a million other people doing the same thing we're doing. You know, this is not like I'm the only one doing this in this world. But what will bring your audience to you, which will make it more lucrative, which will bring more customers, is they're coming to you. They're deciding to come to you because they like you, because of your personality, because of your positioning, your delivery. And how did they get that? How did they see you first? It's either, you know, word of mouth. Someone put their arm around you and said, go see Sharon, or they caught your photo online. You know, that is the first thing you see to build your business and your brand. Then they listen to your video. Then they listen to your copy. And, you know, remember, I had a syndicated newspaper column that went to 400 papers each week. I like writing, you know, but before you get them to read, you get them to see and make an opinion.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So what is the first thing people see and how it helps them form an opinion of you in 1/10 of a second? How is that good news and how can you use that to your advantage?
Just learn how to show up. It's that simple. It's just that when people form an opinion about you, you don't want to look, I mean, I'm leaning on my table like this, but you don't want to have a photo where you're like,
Right.
you know, because people say it's like a power photo, but it's not. You're actually body language cutting the world off.
Yeah.
So if it's, I was looking at Kamala Harris yesterday and something, and she was like that. I'm like, that is the first time I ever saw a woman not look like she's cutting people off with her arms crossed. And that's because she was smiling when she was doing it. And she still had the authority going, and she's doing a blue suit. So it was sort of this yin and yang that all went together. But, you know, best practices, don't do.
Right.
I
You
don't have like
yeah.
a white, like a paper background behind you,
Mhm.
especially those mottled browns and weird teals and those weird corporate colors, because people want to see you. You can use the portrait mode on your phone to blur it out a little bit. That's actually really cool. But set yourself up in a way that, you know, every photo doesn't have to be a winner. There's the trash, right? You can hit the trash. You could do 1,000 of them until you figure out what side looks better, what doesn't. There's some simple retouching apps. If, you know, your lipstick's on your tooth, if by now, I don't know, maybe my concealer is starting to crack. You could fix those minor things. Real photos are slightly retouched, but you don't want to retouch yourself into looking like a Rembrandt. You know, you still want to be real, but you want to take away the stuff that's distracting. Like, I was looking at something before, it's actually a prospective client, and she said, and it's for it's a whole business makeover, modern business makeover. And she sent me her photos, and she was, I don't know, I hope I don't have sweat stains because I turned the air conditioner off. But anyway, so she has her like that, and she's wearing a sleeveless top, and you could see like stubble and deodorant marks. And it's like, ugh. You know, I know you're a brunette, and at the end of the day, you've got a lot of thick hair. There's a little stubble.
Right.
But when you're doing your photos, that I could not see anything else in that photo except for her armpit. Like, I could not. Okay, I have a weird obsession with armpit hair. Like, when I have it, that's fine. It ain't my thing. But, you know, so I'm a little more susceptible to that than most. But still, I'm looking at it, and it's a huge distraction. So it's the same thing. Like, if your hair, if you've got like gray roots and the rest of your hair is red, invest in like some demi color. Invest in stuff that doesn't make it a like, my nails are gross. I have terrible nails, right? And I couldn't wait to get we didn't have nail salons open in New York for the longest time. Well, they've been open for a few weeks, and I thought I would be the first one there getting it done, and I haven't been. So you know what? I know that. You see my nails?
Yeah.
You don't see my nails. You know, learn simple little things
Mhm.
that don't make it distracting.
That's good.
And it's the background, it's the tree coming out of your head, you know, it's the bad posture, it's the lousy bra, it's, you know, looking ditzy. That's like the worst thing. Looking really ditzy in photos or video.
Right. That's
And
great.
if you feel good, and if you come out from a part, this is a stylist to me, I'm speaking, right? And you know, I got into fashion and style because when I was a little girl, I was chubby, and we were very middle class background, lower middle, average middle class probably. And my mother loved expensive clothes, which we clearly could not afford designer clothes. So she took me to Loehmann's, and Loehmann's at the time was a discount designer store, and they were not allowed to let you know who the clothes were by, so they had to cut out the designer label. So you had to judge the clothes by the threads. It's like I could recognize the threads of Calvin Klein and Ralph Lauren in my sleep now. So, but the point was, I felt better about myself and how I presented myself, so that when I was no longer the chubby kid, I'm still always the chubby kid, right? That I just knew that by looking a certain way, I got the confidence, the self-confidence to feel better, to feel energized, to be able to be comfortable in my skin, to be able to do whatever else I want to do without feeling that it's dragging me down, that I don't know how I'm showing up, I don't know how I'm looking, I know how to figure it out, where I could still have all those erotic stories going in my head. You know, I'm not perfect, but I know that when it's time to be on, it's time to be on, and I know how to do that.
Right. Yeah.
And it's learned. I mean, that's what I help people understand. It's learned.
Right. Yeah. And those are some great tips, because moms are always trying to do it all when they, especially if they don't have the budget to do, all these professional photo shoots. And you're even saying that you don't need to.
Don't. You don't need them. You know, first of all, use your kid as a prop. Duh, I said it. You know, I wish my 21 and a half year old 6'5" son was a baby now. I told you there's a photo I've been trying to show. I'll put it on my site. I don't have it now. It's when I first started this, and I was at this old boxy computer, and I look like a mess, and my office looked like papers were dumped all over. And my son was through the naked baby stage, and there's a naked baby on my back, leaning over my shoulder as I'm trying to learn code to build my website out, And it's use your kids, their attention, kids, dogs. My dog's sleeping over there. People like to look at that stuff. So use part of your life to be more engaging. Granted, nobody wants a 6'5" naked kid on your back now. That would be really creepy, but I don't want it. But use what you have to be part of your life. You don't have to have your child in every picture, but let's say you're doing a video, right? And your toddler walks in, don't get all flustered, like, oh my God, you're gonna see I have a kid here. Right. Say, hey, anyone to come in and say hi to everybody, say hi. But let the kid know when it's time to go, so they don't like take over the whole thing and be terribly annoying. Right. Have it so they could come in as sort of a piece of entertainment, as a light moment, as a real moment. Mm-hmm. And let them know. So even if you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, let me just go give her toy or her drink or whatever it is," and run back. It's okay. It's life,
And it makes you more real, I think.
Yeah, and then you're going to relate to people who have kids of that age. You're going to relate to people like me who remembered when their kid did something like that, and it makes you relatable.
It does. It does. I agree. Well, thank you so much, Sharon. You've provided a lot of good tips and advice and fun for our viewers. Do you have any last tidbits you wanted to share?
Just be the best at being you today. It really is. Don't try to be someone else other than you. Don't woulda, coulda, shoulda. Be comfortable in your space today. Everything I did started with designer discount stores. Get what you can. If your money's going to something else, that's fine. Learn, you're worried about looks. I've always been the thrift shop queen, and now I'm donating so much stuff because my husband makes me clean out my crazy closets. But it's like there's definite ways to get things on a budget, any budget. If you just want to be wearing a t-shirt every day, make sure it's a cool t-shirt. It could even be like a Hanes 3-pack, but your hair and your makeup are cool, so it elevates that undone look with a little more, natural, like a French girl would put it together. So don't let that hold you back, and use your phone to be able to really reach your audience and understand your brand and your personality and how they go hand to hand in your marketing and your social media and in your business. And, the other thing is, which we really didn't get into, which I started doing in the pandemic, and I used a lot of downtime to go over where the leaks were in my business. And it's something that's really important. So when you do something, if you're starting with tech or anything else, remember you're going to be committed to it for a really long time, because it's such a pain in the neck to move, to switch, to change, whatever. So try to really do your due diligence to know that you're setting yourself up right the first time. And I have a saying that if you do it every day, learn to do it right, and make that easy for yourself that way. And if you want more help building a brand for free, go over to AuthenticSuperstar.com. If you're more of someone who reads, just go to FocusOnStyle.com/report. And if you want video stuff, go over to VideoQuickStarter.com. And follow me on social media and visit me at FocusOnStyle.com. My handle is always Focus on Style or Sharon Haver. So, and ask me questions there. Go ask me questions on Instagram. Focus on Style.
Very good. And we'll link that in the bottom of the video for anyone that's driving or isn't able to write that down. Well, thank you so
Cool.
much,
And,
Sharon.
and if you're looking, and if you also, we're going to be hiring soon. If you're looking for, some stuff, message me over on Instagram. Let me know what you're up for there. We might be needing a new virtual assistant.
There
So,
you go.
or an apprentice.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Leslie. I loved it. And moms, don't let it hold you back. I built my business when my son was napping, and when I dropped him off at school, and when I stayed up late at night so I could be with him. I was a full-time mom and a bootstrapping entrepreneur. You'll make the hours. You can do it. If you want it, you can do it.
Yes, absolutely.
If they're young.
All right. Take care.
And it just makes you more on top of time and productivity.
Yes.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.